A father, suspecting his daughter might be mute, actually bought a parrot to teach her to speak. But no matter how hard the girl tried, she couldn't squeeze a single sound from her throat. Warren thought his encouragement would help, but his anxious wife blurted it out first. Her action only enraged Warren.
Cut!
Violet, just let her say it. Why don't you just let her say it, please?
Just as their arguing frightened the girl, the parrot actually started teaching the girl to speak.
Cut!
They want you to do.
What was even more surprising was that the girl suddenly repeated after him.
Cup. Cup.
Hearing the voice, the parents immediately stopped arguing. Warren stood there stunned in disbelief, while the mother, Lila, excitedly embraced her daughter. With the parrot's help, Marie slowly overcame her fear of speaking, and they became inseparable companions. Marie would often share her food with Polly and take him swinging. But soon, Marie discovered Polly was special. Not only could he guide people to speak, but his independent consciousness far exceeded that of ordinary birds.
Rock.
Rock. What are those?
Ew,
Don't mind if I do.
Despite being so smart, Polly was unexpectedly terrified of heights. Facing the family cat's fierce gaze, he never dared to move a muscle, freezing on his perch. Even when the cat pounced, he could only scramble along the ground in panic. Once, just as the cat was about to get him, Marie fortunately picked him up in time, saving Polly from becoming the cat's meal. However, while Polly helped Marie speak more and more fluently, her father's prejudice became even more obvious.
They just repeat what we say. They don't understand.
Polly understands.
That night, Warren told his wife that Polly's presence would only make their daughter dependent, so he decided to send Polly away, believing this was the only way for Marie to learn independence. But he didn't realize Polly was already his daughter's most important partner. Marie heard all of this from upstairs. She couldn't imagine life without Polly, believing he was not a burden but her salvation. To stay with Polly, Marie made a bold decision. She would teach Polly to fly. But when Polly looked down at the ground, his fear intensified. He spread his wings only to shrink back in terror. Knowing Polly's timidity, Marie climbed out the window to demonstrate how to fly, hoping to ease his anxiety. Looking at the starry sky, Marie's face was full of longing, unaware that danger was quietly approaching.
Hi. Come on, now fly. Come on.
She hopped a few times on the terrace, but the slate suddenly collapsed under the pressure. She tumbled down the roof. In the nick of time, she grabbed the eaves. Warren, hearing the noise, rushed over and caught her just seconds before she hit the ground. Looking at the parrot that nearly caused a tragedy, Warren's resolve to send Polly away grew stronger. He saw Polly as a hidden risk that would only bring trouble to the family. The next morning, ignoring Marie's crying and protests, he drove Polly away. Marie chased after the car, screaming heartbreakingly, but couldn't change the adults' minds. Warren drove away without looking back. However, Marie's simple instruction was branded deep in Polly's heart, like an invisible mark. He thought learning to fly would lead to a reunion, never expecting the road home to become an obsession he would never give up. Warren took Polly to a pawn shop in a small town. It used to be a place for locals to get emergency cash, but with modern financial services, business had declined, and the owner was struggling. Polly, feeling oppressed and suffocated in the cage, became increasingly irritable seeing the desolate shop, cursing the owner every day. It wasn't just the owner who suffered. Every customer couldn't escape Polly's ridicule.
Hit the bricks, ugly.
Polly's sharp tongue angered everyone who wanted to teach him a lesson. Only a kind elderly lady showed inexplicable tolerance towards him. Ivy, whose husband had passed away early, lacked someone to talk to. She knew she needed a companion, so she decided to buy Polly at a high price, hoping for someone to talk to for the rest of her life. But on the way home, Polly's chatter never stopped, giving Ivy a headache. Unable to bear it, she opened the cage to let him go, thinking they were incompatible and he should be free. But the flightless Polly had no idea how to get back to Marie and was almost hit by falling objects. Terrified of wandering alone, he turned back and begged Ivy for help, not wanting to lose his only hope, his voice full of panic and pleading. Although annoyed, the kind-hearted Ivy understood his obsession after hearing the whole story and agreed to drive him home. When Polly saw his former house, he screamed in excitement. But as Ivy rolled down the window, they saw a sold sign. A neighbor told them Marie's family had moved to far-off Los Angeles. Though disappointed, Polly hoped Ivy would continue the search. Unexpectedly, Ivy admitted she was too old to handle the 3,000-mile journey. Polly had to follow Ivy back to her RV. Watching the drizzle outside, he regretted not listening to Marie. If he had learned to fly earlier, he might be in his owner's arms now. But Polly's stubborn longing unlocked Ivy's dusty memories, reminding her of her husband and their days traveling the world in this RV. RV living rose in mid-20th century America, linked to post-war freedom and exploration, becoming a way for many to pursue an authentic life. However, since her husband's death, the RV hadn't started.
You miss Earl,
Oh, let's not talk about that.
like I miss Marie.
Ivy understood this extreme longing. Seeing Polly lovesick, she realized this obsession shouldn't be let down. So she made a crazy decision. She would start up the RV and drive it across hundreds of miles to take Polly back to Marie. She hoped this longing across mountains and seas would have a happy ending. However, as they set off full of hope, they were unaware of the danger ahead. Along the way, they sang songs and took in the scenery, stopping from time to time at beautiful spots where Ivy sketched Polly's silhouette. Through wind and rain, a deep bond formed between the human and the bird. But one day, while driving through the desert, the elderly Ivy's vision blurred due to fatigue, and she failed to notice an oncoming truck. When she finally realized, she tried to swerve, but the vehicle lost control and crashed into the rugged sand. Fortunately, it stabilized after a few bumps. Ivy sat paralyzed in the driver's seat for a long time. She got out to seek help, signaling Polly to wait. Watching her stumble away, Polly felt a strong unease, worrying her body couldn't handle the desert trek. The doctor's diagnosis dealt a heavy blow to Polly. Ivy's eyes were aging severely and she would soon be blind. Not wanting to be a burden, Ivy encouraged Polly to continue alone, saying he would reach Los Angeles by flying towards the sunset. Although Ivy tried to mask the sadness of parting, Polly had long regarded her as family. He saw through her pretense of strength and felt the reluctance and guilt behind her smile. Polly didn't want to leave when Ivy was most helpless. He couldn't accept letting the soon-to-be blind Ivy face the darkness alone. So, he put aside his search for Marie and chose to stay by Ivy's side, becoming her eyes to the world. He realized the most precious friendship lies in the companionship of the present. In the days that followed, Polly faithfully accompanied Ivy through her darkest times. From chasing the past to guarding the present, Polly's choice interpreted the profound meaning that companionship is salvation, until Ivy felt the last glow of the sunset and left Polly forever. Looking at the empty bed, Polly realized it was time to resume his journey. He remembered both Ivy and Marie hoped he would fly. This memory pierced his long-standing cowardice like a beam of light. He knew he couldn't escape anymore. To return to Marie, he had to summon his courage. This was both a desire for reunion and an answer to his two loved ones. Fighting his instinctual fear of heights, he flapped his wings hard. He didn't want to be trapped by fear anymore. Unexpectedly, his body truly soared. The feeling of overlooking the earth made him forget the fatigue and fear. He felt Ivy's warmth in the wind and saw Marie's smile in the clouds. Every flap of his wings was a response to two heavy expectations. He flew over forests and deserts, enduring hardships to head toward Los Angeles. After countless days and nights, a strange city finally made him slow the beat of his wings. He met other parrots and asked for help. They took him to their boss, Ignacio. From Ignacio, Polly learned he was in East Los Angeles.
L.A., oh my gosh, I made it! I made it, L.A., I don't believe it!
I don't believe it. You can talk?
Ignacio said his parrots only mimicked sounds, and he had never seen one like Polly, who could truly converse. Ignacio kindly looked up information to find Marie's address, but found nothing. Polly felt deep despair. At the other parrot's insistence, Polly stayed at Ignacio's bar to perform while asking for news of Marie. He sang and danced, attracting tourists and even helped collect money. But a man named Benny saw how clever Polly was and hatched a plan to get rich quick. He offered to buy Polly for $10, but Ignacio refused, knowing his bad intentions. Benny didn't give up. Knowing many customers were illegal immigrants, he tipped off the police. As the police raided the place, Benny took advantage of the chaos to grab Polly and sneak out. He pretended to be a savior, lying that he rescued Polly from the police. Naive Polly believed him, forgetting he had seen Benny at the pawn shop earlier. Back then, Benny already had bad intentions toward Polly. But Ivy took him away first, stopping him from getting what he wanted. Benny lied to Polly, saying he could help find Marie. But hiring a private investigator would cost a lot of money, so they needed to figure out a way to raise some cash first. The next day, Benny actually brought Polly to a bank and had him perch in a tree to spy on people entering their withdrawal passwords. Right after that, Benny moved in close to the victims, pretending to bump into them while pulling his tricks. But Polly had no idea this was against the law, and before long Benny was raking in the cash. Just when Polly asked Benny to take him to find Marie the next day, Benny's girlfriend unexpectedly got greedy. She demanded that Polly steal some jewelry for her before she would agree to lead the way. Desperate to find his owner, Polly agreed without hesitation. Little did he know, this operation would plunge him into an abyss from which there was no return. That night, under the cover of darkness, they snuck into a wealthy neighborhood and Polly flew secretly into a villa through a window. After several previous jobs, his technique had become increasingly skilled. He quietly opened the owner's jewelry box and picked out a gold necklace from the pile of gems. But as he prepared to fly off with it in his beak, the necklace got stuck tight. He pulled with all his might, making enough noise to nearly wake the sleeping tycoon. Just as Polly panicked and prepared to retreat the way he came, a pair of feet followed closely behind him.
Turn around.
The boy caught a glimpse of Benny waiting outside the window. Terrified, Benny fell straight off the ledge and fled in a panic with his girlfriend. Although Polly struggled desperately, he was firmly caught by the homeowner. The next day, the owner sent Polly to an animal shelter. Dr. Reingold was amazed by his outstanding linguistic talent the moment he saw him. When Polly asked to find Marie, Dr. Reingold agreed without hesitation, but then immediately demanded that Polly cooperate with his academic research. Polly thought he had finally met someone trustworthy, and hope reignited in his heart. He didn't realize that this seemingly kind Dr. Reingold was actually a mercenary hypocrite. By evening, Dr. Reingold had already received Marie's address from his assistant, but to use Polly for financial gain, he deliberately kept it a secret. However, Polly, inside the room, heard his scheme clearly. He felt a bone-chilling coldness. He never expected that just after escaping one scam, he had fallen into another trap. What made him even more angry was that to improve his academic status, Dr. Reingold specially convened an academic exchange conference. This meeting reflected the unhealthy culture of pursuing vanity and fraud in the academic circle, violating the spirit of seeking truth. Dr. Reingold publicly lied, claiming that Polly's language ability was entirely the result of his personal training. Polly could not believe that the man before him could be so despicable. He knew he could not remain silent. He didn't want Dr. Reingold's lies to continue deceiving the world. Just as Dr. Reingold was presenting his research results to everyone.
You promised.
Liar! 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 Liar!
Unsurprisingly, Polly's performance turned Dr. Reingold into the laughingstock of the entire venue. But while the lie was exposed, it also thoroughly enraged Dr. Reingold. Furious, he ordered his assistant to clip Polly's flight feathers. With a miserable scream, Polly once again became a parrot who couldn't fly. He experienced the treachery of the human heart, completely despaired of humanity, and stopped speaking. Although Polly had lost his academic value, Dr. Reingold still didn't let him go, locking him permanently in a dark basement. He thought he would never have the chance to see Marie again in this life, but he didn't expect a janitor to change his fate. One day, while Misha was cleaning alone, he heard a melodious song coming from the basement. When he followed the direction of the sound, he discovered the imprisoned Polly, a parrot that could actually sing. He simply couldn't believe this scene, but just as he tiptoed forward to confirm if it was real, he accidentally knocked over a cage nearby.
Leave me alone! And don't come back!
Later, Misha told his colleagues everything he had seen, but he just said he was hallucinating. How could a parrot possibly talk? To prove he wasn't talking nonsense, Misha planned to buy a mango, the parrot's favorite, hoping to entice Polly to speak again. However, faced with a delicacy he hadn't eaten in a long time, although Polly was drooling and the familiar fruity scent lingered on his nose, he didn't dare relax his vigilance. Memories of being deceived and hurt in the past flooded his mind. He believed that human hobbies were all traps and didn't want to fall into a desperate situation again, due to trust. It wasn't until Misha was about to eat the fruit himself that Polly finally couldn't resist the temptation and spoke up.
All right, mango, 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 M-A-N-G-O, mango. Are you happy now?
Misha couldn't believe his ears. Polly could not only speak, but could even clearly spell out words and letters. But he couldn't understand why Polly, with such talent, hadn't shown it at the academic conference before. Polly realized Misha had no malicious intent, and his tight defenses gradually dropped. So he told the story of his past in detail. After learning of Polly's tragic experience, the kind-hearted Misha was deeply touched. He, too, was someone living far from home. He understood the torment of missing family and fully understood Polly's obsession with Marie. He couldn't accept that such a loyal parrot was trapped in the dark. He believed Polly deserved a chance for a reunion, so he made a bold decision on the spot. But just as he hurriedly brought his toolbox to rescue Polly, Polly's reaction exceeded his expectations. Although Polly kept trying to stop him, worried that this move would implicate Misha, Misha still pried open the cage and gave Polly his freedom back. In Dr. Reingold's office, they quickly found Marie's address. The moment the information was verified, Polly felt incredibly excited. They thought they could leave smoothly, but unexpectedly, as soon as they turned around, they bumped right into Dr. Reingold. Dr. Reingold understood everything the moment he saw Polly and immediately signaled his assistant to capture him. Seeing that the poor little guy was about to be caught back into the dark basement, Misha didn't hesitate to step in front of him. Misha feared no oppression from Dr. Reingold and firmly took Polly away. This behavior implied resistance against the abuse of power and echoed the simple pursuit of individual rights and justice. But as soon as he went down the stairs, he found the main gate was blocked by security guards. Polly stood tightly on Misha's shoulder. He felt a panic like falling into the abyss again. He couldn't imagine the consequences if they were caught. Seeing that they were about to be caught by the staff, Misha hurriedly hid in a research room and quickly locked the door. Looking at the animals being used for experiments, a crazy idea suddenly sprouted in Misha's mind. Meanwhile, Dr. Reingold, blocked outside, banged furiously on the door, and finally, the door was opened. After security forcibly pried the lock, but the moment the door opened, a rat dashed out from inside, causing Dr. Reingold to freeze on the spot. It turned out that before they broke in, all the research animals in the room had been quietly released, and Misha had already taken Polly and escaped through the window. Following the information on the paper, Misha took Polly and found Marie's home. Thinking of seeing the owner he missed day and night, Polly was so nervous he almost stopped breathing. Just then, Polly glimpsed a familiar figure outside the house. He thought it was the long-awaited reunion, but when they rushed forward, what came into view was a strange face. And the little girl was so scared, she turned and ran into the house. Polly instantly felt extremely disappointed. All hope turned into bubbles at this moment. The suffering of the past seemed to have lost all meaning, but then a beautiful young woman suddenly ran out of the house. Polly was so scared he backed away repeatedly. In the depths of his memory, Marie was a cute young girl. And how could the graceful young lady before him be his owner? He worried this was another carefully designed scam, so he urged Marie to leave quickly. But then, a very familiar song came from behind him. It was the tune Marie used to hum to Polly when she was a child, a memory that belonged only to them. Polly finally believed that the girl in front of him was Marie. Polly flapped his wings excitedly like a wronged child and suddenly soared into the air, landing steadily in Marie's hands. Polly never expected that to return to Marie's side. He would spend 20 years and travel across half of the United States to fulfill this concern. This is a healing movie wrapped in a shell of innocence, but hiding warmth and strength. There are no deliberately sensational lines, nor are there ups and downs of intense conflict. It touches the hearts of millions of viewers simply with a parrot's journey to find its owner. Perhaps it is this sincerity seen in small things that makes it a warm masterpiece that is hard to forget after watching. Polly was originally bought by her parents as a tool to help the mute girl Marie speak, but he unexpectedly became her salvation. Through quiet companionship, he helped Marie progress from being unable to force out a single sound to speaking fluently. Marie used pure trust to give the acrophobic and timid Polly a warm reliance. She would share snacks, protect him when the cat pounced, and tried to teach him to fly, just so he could fly back even if they were separated. But her father's prejudice abruptly cut off that connection. He decided that Polly made Marie too dependent and sent him away regardless of the child's heartbreaking cries. That sentence, "You have to fly back to me," became an obsession carved into Polly's heart. The success of the film lies not only in the twists and turns of Polly's journey, but also in the fact that every character is vivid and three-dimensional. Polly has a bit of a temper, mocking others in the pawn shop, but he also puts aside his obsession to accompany Ivy after she later lost her sight. For the sake of a parrot, Ivy didn't hesitate to restart the RV that hadn't been driven in years and cross hundreds of miles of desert. The janitor, Misha, did not hesitate to fight against power to save Polly. At the same time, the film does not avoid the dark side of human nature. The swindlers and the professor who faked data for profit give the story a realistic weight and highlight the preciousness of kindness. After 20 years, when Polly reunited with the now-grown Marie in Los Angeles because of the familiar song from her childhood, all the waiting finally made sense. He once dared not spread his wings because of a fear of heights, but he flew with all his might for a promise. He once despaired of humanity because of deception, but he never lost the concern in his heart. This journey is very much like our lives. We will encounter prejudice and betrayal, but we will also harvest warmth and protection. And those obsessions and kindness hidden in the bottom of our hearts will eventually become the power to cross difficulties. Perhaps we won't travel across half the United States like Polly, but as long as we keep the purity and persistence in our hearts, do not run when we feel lost, and do not give up when we are hurt, we will eventually encounter our own warmth on the journey of life and write our own unique splendor.